how a professional player lost 10,000 by accidentally trolling. And this can only happen in League of Legends. And by the way, I'm serious. This pretty much can only happen in League of Legends because Riot is absolutely unreasonably strict with their rules and the rule enforcement.
In 2017, an esports team was given an official warning for exclusively banning support champions in their match against Vivictus Esports.
Yeah, banning only support champions. You know where this is going. you know what the video is gonna be about. A classic.
A team consisting of all female players.
Beautiful.
Riot labeled this a sign of intentional disrespect, stating, although banning 5 support champions is not prohibited by the rules, Riot Games and the wider gaming community took this as a manifestation of disrespect for the players of Vivictus. As ridiculous as this sounds, it wouldn't be the only time Riot had to step in to enforce some sort of rule. From players being fined for wearing the wrong shoes, to being fined for forgetting to take Smite, today we learn about other times when
Yeah. If you did not know, the League of Legends competitive scene is literally made out of cardboard and strings, you know? Professional players are at some points not actually allowed to do what they want to do because they need the game to look a certain way. Admittedly, this is not technically proven, but this is a very, very popular and most likely true theory. Is the fact that they cannot do anything off meta. They can't have, for example, a roaming support that starts just roaming level 1 or anything like that, because if they do it, that completely destroys the balance of the game, okay? That completely just throws into complete chaos everything that's happening in normal ranked games. And Riot cannot allow this. So, you know, not picking Smite, well, obviously that's going to be a fine because you're trolling. They need to show the world that playing jungle without Smite is 100% trolling.
Professional gamers had to be disciplined for interesting reasons.
Imaze Road has been suspended for his team's first game Sunday due to verbally abusive behavior in ranked games over the last few weeks.
But before we get into that, today's video is sponsored by Professor. League of Legends gives you a lot to keep track of. So Professor is a companion app that makes a few things easier. From Champ Select, once you pick
you know what this is. Go click on the link below and just, you know, do it and use the code if you want to. Otherwise, everyone knows that it's garbage. Well, it's actually kind of useful, but you know, there's other alternatives, I'm pretty sure.
A portion of the power Professor can give you. Click for free today. Riot Games is a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yes.
But despite that, just like you and I, they also make mistakes.
They can't also get people to actually manually review reports because that would take effort and money.
Like a while back, it would seem that developers overlooked an interaction between Ryze and the water walking rune that allowed Ryze to farm an almost unlimited amount of mana just by briefly walking into the river. This is not an intended interaction. So in professional leagues, Riot disabled the combination from being used by players. But on January 22nd, 2023, a player picked both Ryze.
Yeah, League of Legends has this thing called a pause thing, where you pause and people review the footage to actually assert was there a bug. Because League of Legends currently has roughly 300 quadrillion billion active bugs in the game, so it's kind of necessary for competitive play, because no one honestly knows when your flash is just gonna decide to flash in the enemy fountain from your safe lane. No one knows that.
And the water walking rune, regardless of it.
Oh, also funny thing, I just watched a video today about a pro. He asked for a pause because his static shift didn't work. And after like 5 minutes of staff deliberating why didn't his static shift proc, they came to the conclusion this MFer hadn't finished static shiv even. And that's the real thing. It took 5 minutes or something for people to figure out, wait a minute, this guy doesn't even have a static shiv. And that happened in a competitive game. And they were demoted to becoming an NALCS team because of that. Sad story.
Being disabled. Now, despite taking the rune, the player didn't take advantage of the bug associated with the rune. However, regardless of them abusing the exploit or not, his team received an undisclosed monetary fine as they technically broke the rules. Likely just a form of setting examples and not creating complicated exceptions. Are you really gonna fine someone for a bug that Riot hasn't fixed after 10 plus months of it being in the game?
Yes,
Yes,
obviously.
they are. Sometimes,
like, this is not a question. Some items are forbidden to be built in League of Legends because they have bugs and Riot just literally can't fix them. I mean, have you seen Vendrilli's or Wandrilli's, or how are you supposed to pronounce his channel? That channel literally only exists because he can report on 10 different new bugs every single day for League of Legends, and when a bug gets fixed, he just pops on the champion and sees, oh wait, now, technically the bug is fixed, but you created 2 new bugs, so like, deal with that, right? Spaghetti code, boys.
things don't always make sense. But perhaps not surprisingly, this wasn't the only time that something like this occurred. Just recently, we had an example of this in Korea, which was a little more drama-filled than the previous instance. On June 9th, 2023, the player Aiming, playing ADC, purchased Static Shiv as their first item. However, due to an ongoing bug with the item...
Wait, that's the new Static Shiv logo, I'm pretty sure.
Teams had already been told that they were not allowed to buy Static Shiv on the current patch. Well, 13 minutes into the game, the ADC of KT Roaster...
Oh, it is the new Shiv!
...buys the item, and then the game would go on to be paused by the officials.
But yes, the pause has actually nothing to do with the top lane interaction that we just saw. That was just Keen dying. Nothing to worry about. It was in fact Aiming buying an item that you're not supposed to.
However, this ended up being a bigger problem than you'd think. The game went on to be paused for over 40 minutes while referees and staff figured out what would happen next.
Aiming, by the way, is going to sell the item, and we are going to have the game...
Dude, that's literally like losing the game, honestly. Selling an item is first items... That's just losing the game for you, honestly.
Oh, okay. That's pretty simple. Let's move on. Nope, instead, the massive delay came from KT Roaster's coach arguing with the referees on whether or not the team should be punished for buying the item. Specifically, he did not agree with the player having to sell the item, as the player would not get back the full value he spent. He would instead be set back 900 gold for their mistake.
Yeah,
but
that's
arguing
big.
aside, that was the final decision, and rules are rules. He sold the item, and the game proceeded. They did end up losing though. However,
Obviously.
for delaying the game and allegedly using, quote, inappropriate language toward the referee, KT Roaster's coach was given a 2-week suspension and fined $1,500. Staying on the topic of players...
Dude, how can you even suspend a coach? It makes that's probably the least thing that makes sense. And by the way, a lot of these rules that Riot has is literally because Riot is obsessed with the idea that League of Legends is gonna be the first video game that's actually, like, you know, treated like a real sport, you know? That's why they have these ridiculous and stupid rules. Because real sports have ridiculous, stupid rules that the players must follow.
Making costly mistakes, I mentioned in the intro a player being fined for forgetting to take Smite, which is a story we spoke about in a previous video. The player Wei in the LPL forgot to take Smite, they lost the game, and he was later fined an entire month's salary by his team for letting a mistake like that happen. Arguably a crazy punishment. But while making that previous video, I was surprised to see that I overlooked it, but 1 year later...
Wait, you're telling me Viego is actually allowed in the game? Doesn't that mean that game is gonna last 15 hours, and 14.5 of those hours it's gonna be on pause to figure out was every Viego interaction actually correct?
The exact same thing happened again. On July 27th, 2021, the player PZX of Victory
Nice.
5 Esports went into a match with Teleport instead of Smite. It goes without saying, this was a major setback and they lost.
Yeah.
I'm really confused.
I mean, you can't, if you don't have Smite in reality, like, there are some champions that can actually pull it off, like AD Scion does more damage than a Smite, I'm pretty sure. Cho'Gath Chompy Chomp does more damage than a Smite. But, well, they're slower. That's one. And two, without any of those abilities, you can't actually contest like a dragon, you can't contest a baron, you can't do any of this. And you can never secure, for example, red buffs or anything. You can just be invaded and that's it. You can't do anything.
Go on.
Why does PZX have TP and no Smite?
Oh no!
This has to be a mistake, right? I mean, I haven't seen this if this isn't a mistake. I'm assuming this is a mistake. I don't know why you'd ever do this to yourself.
It was definitely a mistake, and once again, a costly one. His team fined him 1 month of his salary for making this mistake. Once again, quite the extreme punishment. And I sometimes wonder, what is the all-time biggest esports fine? But realistically, it probably does come down to one of these entire month salary fines done by teams in China. Because one, LPL players make a ridiculous amount of money, and two, the idea of being unpaid
How much do they get? They get like, do they get like 100k per month?
for a month of work isn't really a punishment that would hold up in many other countries where Riot operates. But with that being said, we go from one extreme to another. 2-game suspension for allegedly calling someone an ape. This happened in June of 2022 to the LEC player
An ape. Monkey. You monkey. Bruh. Ape.
Crowny for, quote, exhibiting negative attitude and inappropriate language toward other players in solo queue. Now initially we didn't know what really happened, but later the
Bruh.
streamer LS revealed that allegedly his offense was simply, quote, Crowny called
Monkey.
someone an ape. The player
Damn.
later followed up in the streamer's chat and said his message was directed to a random Platinum 3 player. Additionally, he said that pros have said things 300 times worse. IMO.
Monkeys?
Which is actually true. In 2016, a player was fined $2,000 and was suspended in the middle of the world's group stage for being toxic in chat. Specifically, he was exposed for telling another pro player to, quote, go die. But he only said it one time. Okay, he may have said it a couple of times. This story is especially worth mentioning because of how the player
I'm tearing up. It's so good.
defended himself. After these messages were exposed, he made a Facebook post stating his ability to
Yo, that Israel ulti literally did like 5 damage. Oh, look at this. How... Yeah, this is, I think, a super old patch or what?
communicate in English wasn't good.
Oh yeah, this is a super old patch. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, you can't see. Wait a minute. Let me show you. Look at this.
So he
Look at this. Look at this. Yeah, you see a stack of that bad boy. Damn, that's an old patch.
said, quote, the words go die that I said to the pro was not telling him to go die, but it was because he had so many deaths and
Go
every time he
feed.
went to mid, he would get ganked and die. Ah, that does make sense.
That makes perfect sense if you don't think about it.
Not really. He probably would have got away with that, but the attention caused Riot to check his account, and he had multiple instances of verbally attacking
Yo.
teammates and usage of
Nice.
racially insensitive language.
That's probably not even actually racist or whatever. Dude, those words don't mean anything.
For this, he received his monetary fine and was
Insensitive.
suspended for 1 match, which I think is fair enough. But you tell me what you think. Maybe you think toxic players should lose a month of their salaries as well. We'll make a poll. Regardless,
I think League of Legends is absolutely cracked and insane to the limit. What is this? How a 2-hour game of Pro League of Legends never ended? Spicy, nicey. Well, anyway, That's our good boy Nikolai right here, if anyone's wondering. Quite hilarious stuff. Good stuff. Man. Ape. Bruh. I don't know why that's so fun. Ape. Maybe that's because we have been talking about Monkey so much about, and that's a magic card for anyone who doesn't know. The green Monkey, best card by the way in the game. Anyway, this was Sid said. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye bye.